And we're live? That's the question that I'm asking you. Are we live? Can you hear me over there? Okay. We are busting on a bunch of channels, so it'll be good if there was someone else on the end types in the chat, whether you're on YouTube or LinkedIn. Let me know if we are live. But what's up, designers? What's really, really good? Seems like Instagram just came online. Um, Where are you watching this from? Again, let me know when you're live. Is it morning? Is it evening? Are you a zombie vampire that doesn't need sleep? Let me know in the chat and I'll bring you on stage to say hi. Welcome to Rectangles Designs group chat. This is where I bring on a designer and we take one simple topic and we go as deep as possible. We'll talk about their stories, their struggles, and more importantly, their solutions so we can learn from it as a group. And being a group chat, of course, you can ask us anything. So spam the chat with your questions. I think someone else has comment. Oh, yay. And Ali says, "Hey, how you doing?" Okay, cool. So I have a feeling that this chat is gonna be very, very lively today. Um, but without further ado, let's get into the show. Today, we are talking about how design works in big tech. What does a product designer actually do when they reach big tech? I've been asked this by many designers because the title literally covers 9 different jobs. Some weeks you're in Figma, some weeks you're in spreadsheets, some weeks you're in back to back meetings. And if you're in big tech, what are you actually signing up for? This is why I'm bringing my guest on so she can tell us the real shape of the job. 3 things we'll dive into: why big tech is nothing like a bootcamp, what product designers actually do all day, and expectations versus reality. We've all seen that show, Silicon Valley. Is it anything like that? That's one of my questions. And of course, any questions you guys have, just again, leave them in the comments as they come up because maybe you'll forget it and we can revisit it either during the conversation or after. Our guest has had no design degree, no experience, but still landed a UX role, then quickly found herself as a senior product designer at eBay. Then she quit to run her own studio, now teaches on YouTube with 150,000 designers kind of watching her videos, and built her course, which also got featured in Forbes. So, um, this is a private conversation to have with this guest. And if you need to drop off at any point and you can't watch the full stream or you can't join in, go to rectangles.fm to sign up to get that takeaway email and also get the recording as well. But before we continue, I also want to say thank you to our sponsor. For today, we partnered with Optimal. Optimal just launched their MCP, which means when you're in your AI tool of choice, whether it's Claude, ChatGPT, or Cursor, you can ask things like, what are the biggest opportunities in our product right now? What usability issues have been identified in the past 3 months? You can pull participant quotes about, navigation improvements, create an executive dashboard summarizing this study, right? Create a Slack notification when a participant completes the study, right? This is awesome because it removes the time sink to search, synthesize across all scattered studies across your organization. Research data is one of the most valuable assets to a design team. Optimal helps you pull the insights you need to make a more informed decision. See for yourself by scanning that QR code in the top right, and I'll leave that throughout the stream. So if you are interested in how the MCP work, you can just scan that and just read about it on their website. Okay, that's the read out the way. Let's get back to our chat. Let me switch here. Um, Today, our guest is I'm gonna screw the name up again. Okay. Uh, oh god, I don't know why I'm pausing. Maybe it's too early for me. I'm just gonna say Ali Tai, designer, educator, and founder, and she can actually help us pronounce her name here because I've already screwed it up. My brain is not good. But let's get her out and say hi. Hey Ali, how's it going?
Hi, Chris. I'm good. How are you?
I am very good. Just give me your full name again because I suck.
Aliena Cai.
Aliena Cai.
Ali
Thank
is
you.
fine too, by the way.
Okay, I'm just gonna say Ali. That was very embarrassing live, but anyway, um, for the folks that don't know you,
Mhm.
tell us about yourself before we get into some fun icebreaker questions.
That's the hardest question, you know. All right. Hi, guys. My name's Aliena, and I'm a design educator. I run a Figma trusted design bootcamp called Fast Track UX, and I also have a YouTube channel with over 150K subscribers. I talk about design, tech, and business. Before I worked on my business full time, I was a senior designer at eBay Ads, and I led a product called eBay Pay Per Click Advertising. It was very fun, and we can talk about it later. But the reason that I quit eBay and then do my thing full time for design education is because I self taught design, and then I see this huge gap between how design is taught in schools and boot camps and courses versus how design is done in big tech. There's a huge expectation and reality gap that is not filled in at all in design education. And then I really wanted to fill in this gap, even a little bit, that could help a lot of people who want to get into this field to get their dream job quicker. And that's what I've been doing. And that is also why I'm here today chatting with you, which is doing very, very similar things. So, hi, Chris.
Hey, yeah, how's it going? How's it going? Okay, so let's ask you a couple of these questions before we dive into this sort of conversation today of like big tech. These are always fun sort of icebreaker questions. Um, so I'm gonna go and shoot. And again, these are just for fun. Don't take them too seriously. Okay, what's a valuable mistake you've made in your design career?
Oh, I actually did a few design internship back in college. And then those internships were mostly for startups that are in very early days. And then I felt like none of the design process were perfect.
Hmm.
So then after I graduated, I went ahead and then took this Google UX design certificate course that was newly released from Coursera. And then I thought this course probably teach me the proper way of doing design because it is made by Google and Coursera. So I went ahead and then wrote down my portfolio, and then I wiped out all my past projects, which were for real clients, and then replaced them with 3 personal projects that were personal and perfect. And guess what? 9 months of unemployment.
Oh no.
I want to clarify something though, because I think the course is still really nice for theoretical and getting that foundation right? But the problem is that companies don't want to see fake projects that are perfect because none of these big tech companies were perfect. None of them were. And I've never seen one design project that is done the proper way. There's always going to be constraint and then surprises. And I think the key is to showcase that you have worked with real people who have flaws, and then underneath real systems that are also flawed, and then you were able to work within the constraints anyways. That was
Hmm.
a mistake, but and that is why I'm like, even though it was 9 months of unemployment for me, but I felt like if I talk about it more often, maybe other people would avoid this mistake that I made.
Yeah. Lesson learned and obviously shared as well. Talking about a job, what's the most unusual job you've ever had? Have you had any like weird jobs?
I can talk about the weird YouTube videos I've made before
Mhm.
I became a design YouTuber. I have made all sorts of YouTube videos when I was finding myself in college. So I actually studied in 8 different countries when I was in college because I got accepted to this very innovative university called Minerva University. And then every single semester we went to a different country.
Wow.
So one of my videos, like a day in the life as a study abroad student studying in India. And it was really interesting because like you don't see a lot of Chinese people studying abroad in India. And then I posted that on Chinese YouTube, which is Bilibili, and then people were like, "Oh my god, this is really cool." So
That's
something.
awesome. That is very cool. We were talking a bit about before how when you run your own thing, you have lots of decisions to make. So I guess my next and last sort of warm up question is, how do you handle decision fatigue? Like, has it changed over the years how you handle it? Do you just kind of lay in a bed and just put the covers over? Like, how do you handle decision
How do
fatigue?
you handle it, Chris?
How do I handle it?
Yeah.
First, I write down a list of things that I have to make, decisions I have to make, and then kind of prioritize it. So I force rank it. There's a lot of decisions I basically just say I don't make right now. So like I let future Chris make it because I don't think it's important enough. So I try to focus on the things that are important and that, and then also sometimes it kind of falls into a couple of buckets. Do I need to make the decision now? If I don't make the decision, what happens? And then also what how will it impact the business? And then I guess finally, like, what information do I need to make this? So like I have a way I guess of like mentally categorizing it, and anything that I deem like unimportant or not right now, I just don't want to make. So when I end up choosing what to eat for dinner, I hate making that decision because I'm just like, "Ah, I don't really care." But then until I get really hungry, then it's just like, boop, okay, I ordered what comes up. But anyway, yeah, how do you do this?
That's a great response. And honestly, there's no perfect answer to this because I am struggling with decision fatigue every day as a business owner. When I'm working for someone else, it's actually much easier to make decision, to be very honest, because there's is external motivation, meaning there's deadline. And if I don't do this, I'm responsible for someone else's career as well because my team is relying on me. But now that I work for myself, I am responsible for everything I do. And technically, I can choose to do nothing. And then the world will still move on. Surprise. But actually, when AI coding tool or vibe coding tool just became a thing, I actually did one of the deal with Lovable, and then I made a tool. It's called Pick One to Start, because I struggle with picking one task to start. So I basically built a tool with this two axes. One is urgency and one is importance. And then the tool will basically roll a dice. It will have more possibility to land on something that's more urgent and more important, but it's not going to go one by one because that's just too boring. I want it to be fun. So I just roll a die.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. What a fun tool to build. Okay. Let's get into our conversation today. Let's talk about what design is like in big tech. And I want to first ask you the first thing, which is why did you say big tech is nothing like a boot camp? Like, explain that. Yeah.
Yes. So usually when you're in bootcamp, you build a personal project, and then you can go through this entire double diamond design process where you decide the topic, you do the discovery, the research. If you want to do the empathy step, amazing, you can do it, right? And then you make the decision, you iterate, you make sure you test it on a few users, probably your friends, your mom, but at least you ask like 5 people, do like a usability test, and then you iterate, and then you get to a better prototype. Everything is, all the decisions are made by ourselves. But the problem the situation when you go into big tech is that, at least for me, immediately I saw that, whoa, the entire first diamond of this double diamond process it's not there. Because when I get a design job, I don't get it as a problem. I get it as a solution. A lot of time you see just leadership people, PM, coming to you and be like, So we have this problem, and this is my idea. Hear me out. How about we design a thing like this, this, this? And then sometimes, even before AI, they might literally draw out something with the Google drawing tool, like a low fidelity wireframe.
Yeah.
That is my worst nightmare, because it is really difficult to tell someone that this sucks. And you have to do it in a polite way, because if you're a product person, it is your job to do a really clear research on what is the actual problem, who is the actual audience. Instead of jumping this entire first diamond, don't define the problem at the first base and directly provide me a solution, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working within basically this environment where I know I don't have all the right to do the proper design process, but I need to fight for that right every single day in order to have my design landed in a scenario that's a good design. And I'm responsible for the design. So if I said yes to some like very bad design process in the beginning, at the end of the day, I'm also responsible for that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very different from a boot camp.
Yeah. And not many boot camps will give you like the real situation of working in a product team where there's like
Yes.
engineers, product managers, QAs. So like the interactions with these different stakeholders that are experts in their own field, and you're discussing and you're making trade-offs and you're kind of like moving as the project goes along, because a boot camp is very siloed in terms of like do the design piece and then don't care about anything else, which is what you're
right.
which is what you said. So I haven't seen a very decent simulation of like a real product environment.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I try to do at Fast Track UX, because I role play as different characters. I will go into different meeting rooms, and then I'll put on a blazer and I'll act as this character, Elizabeth. I'll be the worst product manager ever, or the leadership ever.
Yeah.
And then I ask my student to pause the video and directly respond whatever in their room. What would you say to Elizabeth if you are in this meeting and then Elizabeth is talking to you? Because that is the situation you need to handle as a designer, right? And I want to add to another point, which is a lot of UX design bootcamp only teach UX, but in order to be a good designer in tech today, you need to have UI, UX, product, and also AI today. So 4 layers, regardless what is the title. A lot of title is still stuck in a few years back, calling themselves UI, UX designer, but at least at eBay, we went through this protest to change our title from UI, UX to product designer, just to have the product in there. So we make sure we get involved into the meeting room early on before someone threw us a solution to draw it. So the product aspect is the business aspect. And that is something so important, because in business, people are not really prioritizing only based on user experience. And that is just the harsh truth. Businesses are prioritizing project based on how much more money they can make. Based on that project. So projected increase on annual revenue based on that project. And if we designers don't understand how our design can not only help users to solve a problem, but also help the business grow, then it is difficult for us to showcase a true business impact, even when it just comes to like an interview for getting a job. So that's another thing.
Yeah. Why do you think that, like you mentioned you did the Google certificate and and you said it was more like theoretical to get the foundation. Obviously Google's big tech. Why do you think like they didn't do the best job in terms of making their course or their sort of boot camp more big tech like and more Google style? Like, did you find it? Because I haven't done it, but obviously I've seen it for these many years. Is it like the real environment, or is it heavily theoretical?
It's heavily theoretical.
Okay.
And I think it's called UX certificate. It's not a product design certificate. So I guess they focus on the user experience design aspect. And I think there is a true value to learn what is one of the best process to do. Even though the real world is more chaotic, I still think it's important to know that or you can actually do user research, have this empathy phase before you jump into the solution. It's nice to know that. So I do think there's still a need to learn all these theories first. A reason why they didn't do all the real world aspect is that even just to do the UX one, it's already 7 certificates. So this entire thing is 7 certificates. Each certificate, there are so many courses. It's not like you can just do it in one course, right?
Yeah.
So that's already a huge scope for them, just from a business mindset. This is good enough for one certificate. You can easily do another one for product design. So I guess that's
exactly.
That's also part of the reason.
Let's transition to in terms of like day to day of a product designer. What, like, based on your experience at eBay and other places, what does a product designer do every single day, or like, what does their day look like?
Right. So my job when I was at eBay, I designed this very business-oriented product called pay-per-click advertising. Back then, for eBay sellers, if you want to sell, let's say, a water bottle on eBay, there's an option for you to spend a little bit more money to get it sold faster, and that is eBay ads. But the initial eBay ads was pay per sell, so you only pay the ads fee if the product sells. But on the market, the actual typical ad structure, like payment structure, is pay per action or pay per click. So whenever a viewer clicks on your ad, you already spend a cent or so. And we roll out this new product called pay per click advertising. It is a gigantic product because it is so tied to business. And just imagine my perspective, because by the way, I have never used eBay before I entered eBay, so just don't tell everyone. Don't tell too many people. But honestly, like, I feel like as an eBay buyer, you'll never think about what can a product look like. What is a pay-per-click advertising product? But from my perspective, you can just imagine tons of table and dashboard. Because as a seller, if you want to create an ad, then you have to set this ad thing up, and then there's all these industry jargons. What is the bidding? What is the keyword? What is the ad group? And you need to figure all that out as a designer, understand that first, and then design it in a way so that those users also understand it. And so my day-to-day, maybe a lot of people will guess I spend most of my time in Figma, which is not true. I felt like spend most of the time in meetings to understand what is happening, to have the discussions with business stakeholders, legal stakeholders, and content designers. So designers who write the text, because that is extremely important for this kind of product. And 80% of the design is done within the meetings. Back then, we didn't have AI, so I just wireframe on the spot, and I enjoyed it very much. Every time I wireframe something, people were just like, wow, Aliena, it's just really cool to see that you can just create something from a blank canvas. Because I feel like designers, we a lot of time forget that this is a superpower. It's not like everyone can have a blank canvas and then they create something on top of it immediately. And that's what we do every day. So whenever I get compliment like that, I'm like, well, this is why I'm here. Still grateful for this job. Yeah. And then during the meeting, I use low fidelity wireframes to represent the bigger structure, make the decision for choice architecture and information hierarchy. And then after the meeting, if the layout already get approved, or if the user flow is approved, then moving to the hi-fi stage is actually pretty simple in big tech because there's design system. And what you do is just you go to your design system, you pick the right button, you put there, and then you pick this, you put there, you change the text, and then you use your key to go up and down to make it multiple of 4 of a gap and make it look great. That is the most enjoyable part. I usually put on a playlist. I enjoy this one really much. And then we bring that to leadership, and then it's another meeting. Usually, they will have some feedback. We will have to do it over again. And again, and again, and again, until it's too late and we have to roll it out. And then we roll it out, and then we adjust. And that's what we do.
Yeah, I mean, I've used some ad products like Google Ads or even like Meta ad. It's so complicated. I
It's
don't
so
think
complicated.
it's so complicated. There's no interface that I've played with in advertising that's actually like, oh yeah, this is kind of intuitive. Like there's so much
No.
to learn as a user because there's just so many things to do, like, and so many parameters you can like kind of mess around with. Like it's not as
Yeah.
simple as just like a slider that like dictates money. It's like, you got to filter like demographic and the different formats of your ads, and it's just it like as a user, it's pretty intimidating in general. So that's not an easy
Exactly.
challenge. So
Yes.
well done.
And because it earns a lot of money,
Yeah.
then there's going to be a lot of people in this organization want to add a new feature to this product because that can help them promote. And also there's different users out there. So a lot of time people are like, I think this feature can help this people, this group of people. And what end up happening over time, especially for older products like Meta or Google, is going to end up with this huge product with a lot of buttons and a lot of options that overwhelms everyone. And there's a very funny story because I also used Google Ads once, and then their customer success team gave me this onboarding one-on-one for my ad. And the first thing they told me is, can you go to the top of this UI and then switch it back to the older version of the UI? Because they redid the UI and there's new version. But then there's this old version. And then, of course, nobody is happy with the new version. And then they asked me to change back to the old version. Oh my God, I was like, this is so funny.
Yeah, they weren't trained on the new version. So they're like, no, let's go back to the old version. So we know what to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You mentioned meetings as a big part of your like workflow,
Yes.
big tech.
Yes.
Do you think, like, if you were to say a ratio, what would the ratio be between meetings and actually design work at your laptop? Is it like, what does that look like?
Maybe 6-4.
60% meetings and 40% design work?
Yeah.
Wow.
Or even more meeting. Or sometimes the time is spent on processing what happened in the meeting.
Yeah.
If you also want to count that as meeting, I will also say 7-3, right? Because I'm
Wow.
extremely fast when it comes to design.
Yeah.
It's just pulling some component together from the design system.
Yeah.
We design for sellers, not users. So the design system is not very up to date for us. So a lot of time I might also create new component, but theoretically, you're not supposed to just create one new component and not tell anyone and just to launch it.
Yeah.
So you also need to build up a good relationship with the design system team and then ask them, can you guys either approve this icon for me or do this icon for me? And this is people smart, by the way, because the design system team, they work with everyone. Then why would they spend their afternoon help you with your project, not someone else, right? So that is some people smart thing that I did. And I remember I managed to get this person to help me with something right before he went on a leave. Because if he went to his vacation without helping me, this project is going to be stuck here because we don't have an arrow icon. It's just an arrow pointing up. We just don't have that icon. I was like, I cannot be blocked on an arrow for 1 month. Please just draw 3 lines, give it to me. Yeah.
I mean, you bring up a good point. It does sound like big tech moves fairly slow because of all the interested parties that need to be involved, different teams. Like if you're working at a startup, there is no design system team. You are the design system team, right?
Yeah.
Right. You basically you do everything. You potentially even write the copy as a first take and then someone else can approve it. So is it a lot slower based on your experience than some of the other jobs that you had? Like you're not necessarily releasing as much as you want, or at least like feel the progress as much. Is that true or is that generalized?
I don't think it's very true. This is what happened to me when I was at startup back then, because I work with a few very sketchy startups. So sometimes you do the whole thing and then it doesn't get launched. And then that is a real situation for a lot of designers, especially people who want to start out, because maybe you help your uncle to design his whatever idea, and then he tell you, oh, I'm not gonna hire an engineer because I don't have the budget. Well, you did the design for free, and then you're like, what? But in big tech, at least in my perspective, it is faster than I expected because I'm working on multiple projects at once. So even this one project got blocked or became slower, there are still so many other things that's happening. And then in my case, I was working on a project with extremely high visibility. And so basically the visibility and the impact pushed this project to go forward very fast. And then I was in the same room with VP very often to present ideas. However, I do see some people, maybe they are lucky or unlucky, depend on what you think, that are laid back. And I'm kind of surprised by the workload that they have. And I was like, this looks like a good deal from my perspective.
Rest and vest. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's some like very lucky spot out there. Yeah. But I do feel like a lot of people, like my friends, especially my friends working at Microsoft, they often tell me like, yeah, I get paid pretty well and I don't have a lot of job to do. But at the same time, I'm afraid that if I ever get fired, then am I able to find another job again? And I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
valid. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but that is a great point. If you're working on a big, important, high visibility initiative, then you're going to move way quicker because the company's priorities are there, right?
Yeah, but also messier in a way, because I remember this project, initially it was just like 4 or 5 people. But because it was such a high visibility and high impact project, and around like 1 to 2 month thing, suddenly I was in this meeting where I am the only designer and there are 20 random business stakeholders just joining this meeting, all want to contribute something. It was so funny because everyone was trying to design for me. And I'm the designer there, sharing my screen on Figma, and then taking note on the side on what did every single person suggest, because people want to sit when there's high visibility. Everyone wants to get promoted. Yeah, right. And then it gets much messier because all the early alignment thing that I did with the 5 people, definitely I didn't do that with these 20 people. And now they came in and asked me, have you tried this and that? I tried it. You weren't there. Now you're here. I have to show you over again. And then you kind of slow things down.
Yeah, exactly.
So the number of meetings increased and then energy spent increased, but then timeline also increased, productivity decreased. That is just how things works.
And it seems like big tech, or at least a lot of work runs on meetings. Did you sort of, when you had a space for that meeting and maybe there's going to be more stakeholders and it's a sort of a point to get either their ideas, feedback, or their solutions, did you try and turn that into some sort of working session, or did it just naturally breed out like that? Or were you like, no, I want more structure instead of them just like yelling stuff at me? How did you sort of navigate these meetings?
Workshop usually also turn into a meeting where they just yell at me. But I think the important thing is, when does this happen? When I first joined eBay, I didn't have any big tech training or experience. So I did things the hardworking student way, which is I will lock myself in my room. I will look at my screen and I will spend as much time as possible to perfect a design by myself in my own thought on Figma. I might have went through 100 iterations, but nobody saw that because I was just doing it by myself. And then because I spent so much time on it, I'm already emotionally attached to it. And then it is kind of hard to ask people for feedback. So by that time, I'm already trying to get validation. And then if that time my manager came back to me and say that he doesn't like that, he doesn't like that, it's going to hurt me a little bit, but then I'm going to iterate based on what he thinks. And then we might move to a bigger presentations following the process, and then some design leadership may come in, product leadership may come in, and then judge my design again. And then they provide more feedback. And I will go back, iterate again, and then to the engineer, and again, and then to legal, and again. This is a horrible process because every step of the way I get new feedback from a new person that I've never thought about because I don't know their job. So instead, in my later projects at eBay, I learned that in the beginning, I do this project kickoff workshop with my product manager all the time, and I will bring in legal person, engineer, and then leadership. I will always invite those leadership and then try to nudge them to join. And then I will ask everyone to yell at me right now before I even touch Figma. And I will note down every person's idea, all the constraints, and then I go into design. And in this way, I just reduce so much time later on for iteration because I know everything in the beginning. I mean, people will still provide more ideas, but it's going to be much less because I understand their perspective early on. You cannot imagine how many times have we designed a whole thing for a month, and at the end, we bring in the legal person, and they told me this entire design pattern illegal in Europe. And then we have to go back to the canvas. I was like, I mean, the product leadership person told me to do this, and they didn't know it's illegal in Europe. Okay. And then back to stage one.
Yeah, workshops are so powerful for that, especially at the kickoff phase where like there's a lot of fuzzy things people haven't agreed. Like everybody has their own priorities, what they want to see in the product, what they think should be prioritized, surface or compliance. Yeah, workshops are one of my favorite things to do. I think especially at the beginning where like there's so much excitement as well, or just a lot of ideas kind of and also the fuzzier the problem or the hairier the problem is or the bigger the problem is, the more you need it, right? Like the longer sessions and bring in people, because it's just like, it's one of those things. And workshops also give me a lot of energy. Like at that moment is highly, highly stressful. But then after you've like it's completed, you're like, oh my God, that was so good. Now there's just a bunch of stuff that I have that I can go do my work in. But not a easy thing to facilitate when you're on your own and there's like, VPs and CEOs in the room. You're like, oh my God.
I feel like mentally, especially for new designers, it's going to be something that you think is high stress, takes a lot of energy, very easily to procrastinate too much to the point that it's no longer the early stage of the project. So so let's say you procrastinate for 1 week because you think it's too much, and then you just go on the design a little bit more. It's very likely you just roll it to the next week, and it just never happened. So my suggestion to all my students, all my viewers is just no matter what you do, just set that meeting up in the calendar, send out the invite. Don't even prepare for it. Just send the invite first. Just make the goal, send the invite, right? Just reduce the stress just to sending the invite. And once you send out the invite, it's already there. So the deadline is gonna push you to prepare a little bit. And to be very honest, I feel like for very early stage meeting, it's okay to not prepare a lot because the point is to listen. It's not really to design anything. How can you design a solution when you don't know the problem? Exactly. So let them do the stressful thing. Let the legal person tell you what is legal and illegal in Europe. You just ask. It's like a whiteboarding session. The key is to ask as many questions as possible.
I really like that. Really like that. Okay, for our last question is like expectations versus reality when you get in the door of big tech. This is a fun one. Okay, let's play the expectation versus reality game then. What give us some expectations and then reality stuff.
From which aspect should we talk about first? There's so many things we've already talked about. Let's see. So expectation. Well, I talk about the design as an individual versus design in the meeting part. That is a huge one for me. Another one is the political one. So communication is a measure that no Asian parent will want their kids to take. But communication as a soft skill, I think it's going to be number one when it comes to design career, because it's not just about how good of a design decision you can make. It is also about how good can you pitch it. And if you don't pitch it to business stakeholders, nobody will hear it, and nobody will just support that. And then you end up designing a thing that other people told you to design. So visualizing a solution that your PM told you to. And that put us in a very vulnerable situation, especially in this AI era, because if the PM told you to visualize something and all you did is just go to the design system, bring back the component and change the text, then people will soon find out it's not that easy, not that difficult. Right. So communication, especially pitching your idea and then present your idea, not just in a design way, but also in a business way, it's such an important skill set. Yeah, you need to talk about how this design can help the business.
Yeah, right. There's another expectation. Again. Yeah, there's another expectation, I think, for people going into big tech. They think, oh, the thing I'm going to design is literally going to reach millions or potentially billions of people. What's the reality like of that kind of expectation?
Okay, that to me, it is true, because the product I designed released to every single seller on eBay. But one thing that surprised me is how many people you test on before releasing something.
Ooh.
Okay, just let's just say I'm not talking about eBay, okay? I'm talking about some other companies. Yeah. Like my friend Elizabeth, she's working at this big tech company, right? And she tells me that before she released a feature to a few billion people, they do a test on 5 users.
So good.
I mean, usability test, 5 users. A/B test, it could be millions of people.
Yeah.
But usability test, where the designer run it, talk to people, get the why, not just the number, 5 people. And I was like, my UX case study had 6 people. That is not okay. But at least they did a test, because a lot of the features, there's not even a test. They just release it. And I was like, that is such a surprise to me, because when I work for startups, even startups are terrified to release something without testing, and then they tend to hold back. And how comes big tech, they just release it? And then sometimes they release it without the best structure, meaning that there's no design QA for the engineering process. So there's this many times that I designed something so beautifully, and then it got launched and I have no idea. And then someday I went into this presentation talking about the success of this project, and the screenshot the data scientist showed there, I was like, no, this is not my design. And then I went into the actual production, and then I just see this horrifying production totally off the UI that I designed. So later on, I just told the engineering team to always create a ticket on Jira for every single project called the design QA. And then on the description, just say call Aliena. And I would just sit there in a meeting and go literally line by line. Because I know it's not going to be 100% the same, but at least if you have, let's say, this information bubble, info icon, at least that needs to be aligned with the text, right? Like sometimes things are aligned in Chrome, but not in Safari. And I was like, Safari users are going to see text like this, and then the info bubble like here. Not okay. It's very obvious.
Yeah.
And then I just sit there just like, let's do it line by line.
Yeah, exactly. You end up like being like, no, okay, let me actually force you to do it. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's one expectation, at least I had this when my friend joined Meta. I was like, oh my god, that's really cool, well done. And then he was actually like, it's not actually that exciting. I got put on some like random admin crap, and it's really boring. So one of the expectations when you join big tech, because big tech, the reason we know big tech is because they are hugely consumer facing, right?
Right.
Your Facebook, your Google, your Apple, massively consumer facing. But because the companies are so big,
Yeah.
usually a new designer that gets hired does not get precedent over the consumer products. They work
Yes.
somewhere in the background, and it's on some like random, dashboard
Yes.
thing for like a small subset of users. And that's what my friend got stuck on for years, and it was not exciting. And he was like, like, what do I like, this is not my expectation, because we've all heard of Meta. I
Yeah.
thought I was going to work on the like button. No, right? No, right? Like, it's
No.
just not that. So I think that's one of these expectation realities, is like, yes, they have a huge consumer facing part, is because you are the consumer and you've interacted with that. But actually, these companies are, so big with so many product
Yes.
lines. It's like the likelihood of you working on their biggest and best
The
is
pretty part.
probably, yeah, it's not true. It's gonna be like, it's not even gonna be B2B facing. It's probably the high likelihood of like some internal team facing.
Internal. Yeah.
Right? Like, it could just be some random internal tool that the compliance team needs. But it's
That is
important, but it's not sexy.
That is so true, by the way. And I want to tell everyone that's watching this right now, especially if we want to enter design. I think 80% of the design job is going to be a product that you cannot even imagine when you want to be a designer. Because like, you can't imagine what a dashboard for admin looks like, right?
Yeah.
And I felt like there's a positive way to see it, because that's also where the opportunity lies, because everyone is going to apply for the fancy, like the job that looks good, like Google, Meta.
Yeah.
But then what about those B2B thing that's also making a lot of money, and then it doesn't need to be that pretty, and then you kind of design a dashboard? I mean, that's also a pretty good opportunity. You get a lot of business impact too. I work on so many dashboards that is very ugly looking, and at least I made them prettier than before, and I think that's a win. Yeah. And I just want more people to set the expectation right, because for every single fancy outgoing looking thing out there, there's going to be 10 times the messy looking or the table looking, dashboard looking tool behind it to make it work for the consumer out there. And it is equally important, even more important. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to add to that, because B2B software deserves love, right? Like, because it's like software we use all day.
Yeah.
And like, we use it for a very specific purpose. But that doesn't mean it has to be ugly, hard to use, and all that stuff. Like, look at companies like Slack or Linear as a great example, whereas like, it's actually very well designed.
Yeah.
And it helps us do the thing that we want to do, right? It doesn't have to be, something. So like, we can kind of bring our expertise into that field if we understand it. And also, the problems are way more complex sometimes than consumer products. Consumer products also care about different metrics. So it could be like an ethical problem where you're like, time spent on platform is consumer, right? But whereas like a B2B product, it could be like task complete rate, or like, how quickly can we move them through this flow? And it's very different set of challenges, because time spent on platforms, it's like, that's really bad, especially for like teenagers, right? So different set of challenges.
And for me as well. Yeah.
For you as well. Oh, me too. I'm like 8 hours, I think. Oh, it's bad. It's bad. I mean, yeah. So yeah, there is a silver line in
and it's
cloud.
logically challenging, because when I was working at eBay, imagine a table that can be reordered in 50 different ways. Oh my God, how are you going to design the information architecture? It is so hard. For example, if you have a table with so many different rows and columns, you want to have the feature where you can rearrange all the data based on the number, but you also want to be able to have this info bubble out there to to have more information on what this keyword mean, like what does ROI mean in the specific case, you have to explain there. But at the same time, you also want to have this feature to rearrange these different 4 or 5 different features in one cell. And that itself is already a bad UX pattern because you can't have 5 interactions in one cell. So you need to think about all sorts of ways to rearrange this table to make it not too ugly, user-friendly, and also show all those information. I would say it's actually a real intellectual challenge.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's fun. We haven't had any conversations come in, so I'm just gonna ask you questions, Ali, and we'll just have a chat about sort of big tech. I think.
Yeah.
So, what did you prefer more, your dodgy startup experience or your? It sounds like you preferred your big tech experience. No.
Sorry, what is the comparison? Big tech versus
startup?
Oh, like my startup or other startups?
Other like the startups that you've worked in or now you run. Like, what do you, oh, okay. Maybe there's 3. Maybe there's the startups you've worked in, and then the big tech, or running your own thing. What do you sort of prefer as a designer? Because this is interesting.
That is the question I want to figure out myself as well.
Really? Okay.
But one thing I learned from all my design experience is there's a trade-off to all decision. So for big tech, I have this schedule, I have a lot of meetings. I earn a lot more because it's big tech, but I'm trading off a little bit of freedom, right? Because if I'm working for Google, let's say, I can't just say anything on YouTube anymore. I might need to submit my content for review before I release it. That's a lot of freedom I'm like trading off, and also free time because I need to go to the office. And also a lot of the power, because there's going to be way more people that has more power than me. Whereas for a startup, if you are like a founding designer, you're going to be the designer that does it all. So there's going to be a lot of impact and power for sure, because there's nobody else doing the design, just you. Lots of labor. But then I'm trading off for a paycheck that can be big in the future, but I don't know, because it might be equity. And I know a lot of startups these days, though, if they have good funding, they might just hire one designer, but then pay them more. But then they are actually looking for a designer that's more experienced, not less experienced than big tech, because they want that designer to do it all. And then for working at my own company, of course, the best thing is the freedom, and also the power, and also the impact, because I get to say what I do, and then I can help a lot of other designers out there, and it's crystal clear on how I earn every single cent in my business, because it's my business, and that's hard and enjoyable at the same time. But of course, I'm trading up for stable paycheck. Sometimes I do miss that. It's nice to have a big paycheck to come to my bank every 2 weeks. Yeah. Even if I don't have too much project going on, the paycheck will still be coming in. But as a business owner, if you don't have too much project going on, there's no paycheck coming in. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
What about you? Do you have a preference?
Yes. So I've basically, majority of my life I've spent in startups. I think I joined one organization when it basically masked itself as a startup. However, there was a big conglomerate behind it, and we shared a bunch of things like resources like HR, people, operations, and all that side of things. So it wasn't really a startup, and I felt like I didn't like the environment, and I've always been a startup person. Yeah, I like the messiness, I like the chaos, I like hands-on, I like going fast, and I kind of miss working as a part of that product team. So like that's kind of what I miss about, working on, inside a product team with a bunch of different sort of stakeholders like engineers and product managers, where I obviously love doing my own thing because I can do whatever I want whenever I want.
Yes, and wherever you want.
Yeah. Obviously, there are responsibilities, and that there's stuff that you don't want to do. There's probably a lot of stuff that I don't want to do, but I have to do anyway. But that's okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of like have mindsets of like going into both. So what I'm trying to do, I guess, is bring a product environment into my own thing.
Oh,
But
wow. Yeah.
my team is not from tech. Like they don't have a tech background,
Okay.
so they kind of don't understand that sort of world. So I think as a founder or someone doing my own thing, it's my job to sort of like create this working environment that I really enjoy, and obviously to pay the bills. But when the bills are paid, it's like, well, what else is interesting? So you're not only
Mm.
designing your like your products and stuff like that, but you're designing your lifestyle and business to kind of be what you want it to be. And I find like that is the most interesting challenge. But how do you do that? I don't think there's a great great way to do that apart from trial and error.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Yeah, like for example, I've said to myself now, like we went traveling for like 4 months last year.
Oh, wow.
It's very
Nice.
much maintenance mode, but like we figured that's too long. The business basically didn't. It just maintained. It didn't do anything.
Hmm.
So next year or every single year from now on, it's like a month sabbatical where literally we don't do anything, but the business keeps running. Uh, but it's not so long, and then we can spend some other time actually thinking about the business within that month. So like I want to do that forever, at least a month. 4 months is
Hmm.
too long. But we can like kind of bake in and experiment some of these things where it's like, oh, that's kind of a business I want to run, or kind of taking inspiration from businesses I see out there. Like a Basecamp is a great one where they do retreats twice a year for their employees working everywhere in the world. That's something that I've wanted to do as well. So like I think I'm
Yeah.
just still figuring out, but uh, I'm guessing I'm taking elements from what I see, what I've experienced, sort of into my own thing. That's the most like I think I should be now saying it out loud. I think I should be actively working on this more as the project itself versus like the next business thing. Like this is the business
Hmm.
thing. Like this should be a
Wow.
priority, I think. Yeah.
And I'm on that searching mode as well all the time. I feel like it's almost like an analogy to finding product market fit as a product. Like
Mm.
when it comes to our own career, we're also constantly finding for this person market fit, right? But I do feel like even when I'm learning product market fit, when I was in business school, I don't get it immediately. Like I know the word product market fit, but I don't get you actually need to have so much experiment to get to product market fit. And then product market fit is never static because the
Mhm.
market is changing. So the moment, let's say I found, oh, design is a topic I can talk about on YouTube and design is a career I can pursue, it's not static. It is only good at that moment. And you never know how many years it's going to be okay until something is shaky. It's either the environment or me, and then I have to find that match all over again and all over again. And I'm doing exactly the same thing right now because like starting a business on my own was totally the good fit 3 years ago. But
Mm.
now that I've run it for 3 years, I do see the environment changing because of AI and me changing because I realized, oh, this is what it really is to be a business owner. And it's
Mm.
going to be a little bit different. So I need to repivot on my business, on my mindset, and then see what the environment is all over again. And I do get burnout a lot. But at least now I'm clear that this process will never be static and I will never find something. It's just going to be me adapting all the time. And let's just take that.
Yeah, I don't know who I heard it from, but someone said something really interesting. Like a founder's psychology is basically everything. Like that
Mm,
determines the success of your business. Because if you basically if you can't hold it together and you
yeah.
let the burnout affect your team, affect your business, and that the cycle goes through so many times, it's going to be really bad for
Yes.
longevity of what you're doing. So
Right.
the ability for a founder to have a stable psychology, or at least
Mhm.
even if they do burn out, but not affect everything else and keep on the direction they're going, is so important. So it's like I think entrepreneurship is basically like a journey of self growth, but like
Yes.
propelled like right in the deep end, because really you have to kind of have your shit together, right?
Yeah, and
so
I
everybody else
really
has their
didn't
shit
know
together.
to what how hard it can be. It is much harder than what I expected because I went through some really hard things, but
Yeah.
this is a whole new different thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I think we could speak about this like all day because we're both going through it. We're
Yeah.
in the deep end, but I won't keep you too much longer. Ali, thank you so much for coming on. But before I let you go, please tell us about Fast Track UX and all the
Oh,
stuff you have going on as well. And I'd love to, give you some space. Take as long as you need, and I'll just throw it on the screen here. But yeah, tell the audience where they can find you.
oh gosh, I need
All
to
that
change
good
that
stuff.
banner, but thank you.
Oh, sorry.
All right. So for those of you who haven't followed me on YouTube, please go subscribe. It's just under the same name, Aliena Cai, and I talk about design, tech, and business. I'm also planning an edutainment show that's called The Happy Path. It might or might not become a thing based on the performance of the first episode, and it's going to be a very funny sketch comedy thingy, almost like The Office plus Silicon Valley, where I role play as different characters and show you how a designer works in big tech and all the drama. So if you like it, make sure to go subscribe. And then if you want to learn design from me, make sure to check out my bootcamp. It is a Figma Trusted Design Bootcamp. We are official Figma partner. It's called Fast Track UX. There's going to be 30 hands-on episodes. You do an exercise in each episode, and then you will get feedback from our team in each episode. And basically, you learn how design is done in tech. And by the end, you will go from a beginner to someone with a case study and a portfolio ready to present for your first client. That's pretty much it. Chris, do you want to talk about your end, given that it's going to be on my channel?
Oh yeah, that would be nice. Let
Yeah.
me flash. Let me. Okay, all right. As it's going to be on your channel as well, I've got this QR code here. So I'm trying to build Design's group chat. It's not a Slack or WhatsApp group. It's sort of the vibe of a group chat through a live stream and a newsletter where I bring people like Ali on and we chat about our careers, mistakes we made, and things we wish we learned earlier. But yep, publishing the newsletter once a week where it's something that I've learned in my career and also things that you should pay attention to. I find a bunch of like random stuff online. I'm chronically online, so if you also like a healthy dose of like new tools, what's going on in the design world, give us a follow. And obviously these live streams. So rectangles.fm. That's me.
Perfect. And go follow Chris' YouTube channel. I'll make sure. I already said it in the comment.
Oh, amazing. Thank
you.
you.
You'll find your channel.
All right.
No problem.
Well, Ali, thank you so much for coming on. It was great. I feel like it's super interesting how we've had such sort of similar paths onto the entrepreneurship, and we're doing like the same thing. So it's also, but obviously very different experience of how we got here, which is a great chat. But yeah, when the skit comes out, I'll be sure to watch it. You're also welcome to come back onto the show whenever, so we can maybe watch it live, have a watch party. That would be really fun.
Oh my God, that would be fun. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you again. I guess before I let you go, any last words for designers that are just sort of like trying to get into big tech now? Maybe they're slightly on the newer side or early career. Any last words for those folks?
Yeah. I think I'm going to give a technical one and then a mental, psychological, self-help one. The technical one is when it comes to resume portfolio, ask feedback as early as possible before you make 20 iterations of your portfolio. Ask feedback with your wireframe. And if you are already at the hi-fi stage, ask feedback right now, because that will help you. That's how you grow as a designer, not to lock yourself in your room, but rather through feedback and through the bravery of showing even the sketchy things out there. And then the self-help note is that when you're applying for jobs, rejection is the default. That is not because of you are not good enough. That's just because it's like a lot of time you're nobody even opened the application yet because there's so many people applying for jobs, and then maybe the recruiter just interviewed the first 10 people that they saw. So don't always think it's because you are not good enough. It's not the case. And when it comes to how to handle these rejections, I think it's really important to have either a hobby or a business that is fully within your control to give yourself the confidence, because this process will for sure drain your energy and take away some confidence. So it is important to have a way to fill it in. And for me, it was my YouTube channel. I started this YouTube channel because I was jobless and I had nothing. And then this is the only thing I could hold on to because I have full control. And I can show some of the success because some people watch my channel. And then for my friend, it was dating because she was in San Francisco, and then the gender ratio, it's very in her favor. So to her, it's, oh, this is just another Indian dude that I got an interview. And then for some reason, that brought her confidence. I'm not saying it's the only way, all right? Just find your own way. Travel is another thing that brought energy back to me. I just magically land better interviews when I'm on a trip. So just find that thing. Don't lose the spark. Don't punish yourself. Don't say things like, I am going to go to the gym after I get a job, or I'm going to do this thing, make this change in my life after I get the job. You need to change that first, and that energy will help you attract the job. It's not the other way around. And then it's going to take you a lot of trial and error to learn that lesson. So that would be my final mark.
Amazing. Beautiful. Thank you so much again for coming on Rectangles FM and also streaming on your own channel. So appreciate that. All right. We'll let you go and feel free to drop off while I wrap up. But it was very nice meeting you for the first time. I think this is the first time we chat.
Yeah,
so,
it was so nice
amazing.
meeting you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. See ya.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye. Bye, everyone.
All right, guys. And like always, this is our time to have a debrief on the conversation for those folks who are still with us. Okay. Ali might see this, but thanks for the session, Chris. I appreciate it too. So this is a space where, one, I tell you about this survey that we have that's running, where you can submit your ideas, the struggles you're going through, and also give suggestions for what you want to see in the newsletter and what you want to see in the show, even who I should invite, because I think that's important. I want to make sure this is valuable for you, but this is also a space for that debrief, as someone mentioned it in the survey. We want a chat after the guest goes. Maybe there's some follow-up questions. So here's the space. What do you want to ask me about my take on big tech or design or getting into the industry? Any questions out there for the folks listening? Yes, and please fill out that survey if you have a chance or you haven't done it yet, because it does really, really help. We have 200 plus submissions, and we're going through them to actively improve this show and the people we bring on. So I would love it if you told me your crazy, wacky ideas of what we should do. Maybe a live roast of a portfolio, maybe a group design therapy session. Like, the ideas can be as wacky as you want them to be. It seems like this morning, because this is a different time we usually have it, usually we have it in the night, is not as active, which is surprising because, it's kind of like in the evening in US. I would have thought more folks would be online, but that's okay. We are back next week. But before I tell you about our next guest, of course, I do want to thank today's sponsor, Optimal. And again, you can check out their new MCP You can understand patterns, findings, and trends across research automatically, extract findings from individual studies without manual review. God, I hate manual reviews. Surface usability issues, pain points, and behavioral patterns. Automatically format findings into summaries and stakeholder ready outputs. Just imagine how that can change your workflow without you manually doing all that stuff. Again, scan that QR code and explore Optimal for free by going to optimalworkshop.com. Again, scan that QR code. Thanks again, Optimal, for sponsoring this episode. Let me talk about what's happening next week and who our next guest is. Let me bring that up. Excuse me. So our next live stream is next week, September the 9th. We'll be speaking about how designers let's start again. How designers position themselves. This one is great if you're trying to find what you're generally good at, where to best sort of apply those skills, and then how to apply it to your job search and career. If that all of that is fuzzy, or you want to get razor sharp on those things and more, our upcoming guest is a staff product designer and run Open Doors. If you know who that is, then that's great. Where he critiques early career portfolios and posts curated design jobs every single week. So from someone who's read hundreds and hundreds of portfolios, so this is him giving us the deep dive on what he's seen work and how a designer effectively positions themselves. Again, to watch that, you can scan the QR code or head to rectangles.fm, where you also get the takeaway email from this show and every other show consequently. So if you like that, go subscribe, go support the show. If you're on YouTube, press that subscribe button. If you're on LinkedIn, I appreciate a follow. But that's it. That's it from me. And until next time, bye.